Now let's study privacy policy. I'm sure you've heard the word privacy policy, but not really thought about what all it takes and how privacy policies is written. Why is privacy policy important? All that. So again, through mailing list, if you think about, stop the video and tell us what is a privacy policy according to you. So here is an example. Here is what a privacy policy Wikipedia definition is. It says privacy policy is a statement or legal document that discloses some or all of the ways a party gathers, uses, discloses, and manages a customer or client's data. Right? Personal information can be anything that can be used to identify an individual, not limited to personal. We know the definition of PII, I guess, right? So essentially, the first line is what is important. Privacy policy is a statement or a legal document in privacy law that discloses some or all the ways a party gathers, uses, discloses, and manages a customer or a client's data. Right? So it's an expression how that information that Amazon is collecting is being used, is what a privacy policy is. So have you read a privacy policy? Just think about it, right? How many websites, how many services you must have used from morning. I'm sure you've used morning, or let's take it the last week or so. How many apps you downloaded on your phone in the last couple of months? Did you ever check the end user's license agreement or the privacy policy of the app that you downloaded? Or you must have gone to different websites in the last 24 hours. Do you know what the privacy policy of these services are? Let's take an Amazon, Swiggy, right? Or Netflix that we have been talking about. Do you know what the privacy policies are? How they at least express, how they say that the information that they're collecting is being used. Right? We don't do that. We don't read privacy policies, right? Rarely we do. So if there is anybody in the class who's actually read the privacy policy of the service that you're using or the app that you're using, just let me know. I'll be very, very curious to know what the context was. So while what I did to argue that studying privacy policy is very critical, important, is that I just did a simple search for privacy policy in Google Scholar while I made the slide. You can see the number of results, and you can also see that's the number of results that has come. But my focus was more on the time, which is it is an important topic that people study in many different ways. People are studying it as, for example, one thing that we'll see in detail later in this week is how much money would it take if we were to make all US citizens to read the privacy policy. That's a study that was done for US citizens, but one can actually repeat it for something like in India also. People are studying about how to make this long, difficult to understand privacy policy into a nutrition label. Can you express them into a simple way by which in a medicine bottle you buy, right? Can you express privacy like that, right? Different ways of studying privacy is going on. And generally, even just longitudinal study, there's even another study done to look at longitudinally how privacy policies have changed over many years. Right? It's a very rich literature. And just to give the newness of the topic, or how it is actually relevant to the environment or outside in the society, I just did again privacy policy research in news. If you see, again, talking about Facebook's or Twitter's privacy policies, companies actually, Google being pulled into a case because of the privacy policy, all that is happening around us. Right? Take a look at that. Right. So we'll go through a couple of privacy policies just to get you a sense of what the privacy policies are. So this is Facebook's privacy policy, which is on the left hand side. It reads as what kind of information do we collect, how do we use this information, how is this information shared, how do the Facebook companies work together. So because this is actually written for all Facebook product services, how do we respond to legal requests to prevent harm, how do we operate and transfer data as part of our legal global services. Right. I've already so here is a link to the privacy policy of Facebook. Now let's take a look at a Facebook privacy policy. I've given all the links in the slides itself, which should be useful for you to take a look at it yourself. So this talks about, again, what kind of information do we collect, right? This gives you a sense of information and content you provide. We collect the content, communications, and other information you provide when you use our products, including when you sign up for the account, create, or share. So again, keep in mind that these policies are written by lawyers and with a legal framework, and that's why these policies are a little long. But it kind of captures all the things that these companies would do, right? So things that you and others do and provide, networks and communication. We collect information about people, pages, and accounts, hashtags. All that information is being collected, right? Such as an address book or a call log or an SMS log history is also being collected. We collect information about how you use our products, such as types of content that you view or engage with features you use. So, right. So this kind of gives you a sense that, look, at a given point in time, you're looking at a friend's post on your timeline. The time that you spend on that can be actually covered here, right? View types of content that you view or engage with, the features you use, the actions you take, the people or the accounts you interact with, the time, frequency and duration of your activities, right? That kind of gives you a sense that when you're looking at a timeline and then you're kind of generally flipping it through, and at some point in time you say that, oh, this picture looks more interesting, you stop, and Facebook actually kind of can get that information that you're interested in that post, and therefore can use that for future recommendations, either because of that user or because of that post itself. Information about transactions made on our products, things others do, and information they provide about you. We also receive and analyze content, communications, and information that other people provide when they use our products, right? So this could be a third-party game that you're playing, Farmville, or a Candy Crush game that you're playing on Facebook, which actually collects information because the game is actually providing you some service. For you to play the game, they're collecting some information. That information can also come back to Facebook, is what this statement is saying. We'll go through one little detail, but this is very long. I'm really not going to go through all the pieces of the Facebook privacy policy, because by doing that, I think it'll be like few hours to finish this policy itself. Device information, right? Device attribute information that we obtain from these devices include device attributes, information such as operating system, hardware, and software versions, device operations, information about operations and behaviors performed on the device. Self-explanatory. If there's anything I will add, but otherwise these are all identifiers, device signals, data from device settings, information you allow us to receive through device settings that you turn on, such as access to your GPS location and camera or photographs. Another interesting point here, right? It says that device settings that you turn on. Again, the question is, what default settings do we have? Is it default on? Is it opt-in? Is it opt-out? What information is Facebook collecting. It's all embedded in that sentence of devices that you keep on, settings that you keep on. Network and connections. We talked about ISP. Cookie, right? Cookie is something later we'll see in the semester. Here it talks about cookie data from cookies on your device, including cookie IDs and settings. Learn about how we use cookies in Facebook cookie policy. There's a cookie policy also, which if you're interested, please go take a look at it. Information from partners, third parties. How do we use this information, right? So first they talked about how the information, what information is being collected. Now it says, how do we use this information? Now let's look at this section called how do we use this information, right? Before we saw what information is being collected. Here, provide, personalize, and improve our products. Personalization, right, which is a hot topic for which all this information is being collected. Improve the services that they're providing you, information across the products and devices. We connect information about your activities on different Facebook products and devices to provide a more tailored and a consistent experience on all Facebook products that you use wherever you use them. So that gives you a sense of different devices. Your account, if you access, they can put them all together to actually give you a personalized service. Location related information. I requested you to watch the Social Dilemma Great Hack in week 1. For people who have watched it fully, you will get a sense of how the majority of the decisions that are being made is because of the information that they're collecting, right? From that is mentioned in the privacy policy also here. We use location related information such as your current location, where you live in, the places you like to go, and the businesses and people you are near to provide, personalize, and improve our products, including ads for you and others, right? So again, location information, if it's available, it can be easily used and very well used for making decisions and for providing personalized services. Product research and development. We will use information we have to develop, test, and improve our products, including by conducting surveys and research. There's been multiple studies done on Facebook by Facebook itself, studying how users behave on while presenting some content. But others also use Facebook for doing research and market study. This privacy policy is talking about what Facebook could do. Face recognition. If you have it turned on, we use face recognition technology to recognize you in photos, videos, and camera experiences. The face recognition templates that we create may constitute data with special protections under the law of our country. Again, an important one, the law of our country. What country is this now, right? I'm accessing it from, it says law of your country, which is accessing it from India now. So probably the question is about what protections do we get as part of accessing Facebook from India. Ads and sponsored content. We use the information we have about you, including information about your interest, actions, which we know how they collect, to select and personalize ads, offers, and other sponsored content that we show you. Providing measurement, analytics, and other business services. We use the information that we have to help advertisers and other partners measure the effectiveness and distribution of their ads and services. So one of the other things that you can use for Facebook, I don't know how many of you have used it for this purpose. You can actually use Facebook for advertising, right? Advertising, you can create very customized advertisement on Facebook, which is to say, I want to send, for example, NPTEL, I want to send information about this online privacy class to all Facebook users in India who are aged between, let's take 19 and 25, who have also seen or interested in the topic of internet or privacy. Right? you can actually target this particular ad that I just now mentioned through Facebook, which is you yourself can do some settings on Facebook to set up this and send the ad to push the ad to those particular users. So that helps, right? Because you want to, because if you did not do this targeted ad, imagine what let's take how much money you would have to spend. Let's take to 10,000 people if you want to send this ad. There may be a chance that large number of people that are getting this ad are not even relevant to this topic. Whereas with saying that with this age group, with this geographic location, and with this interest, let's take they have liked a book on privacy. They've seen they've posted an article about privacy on their Facebook profile. All that can be used to say that please send the ad to this particular person. Promoting safety, integrity, and security. We use information that we various accounts, combat harmful conduct, detect and prevent spam and other bad experiences, maintain the integrity of our product, and provide safety and security on and off Facebook products. Right. So it's they take protection. They take safety seriously to use the information that they have collected to provide safety. Communicate with you, use information. This is again, if you think about how the privacy policy itself is written, you can think of going back to OECD principles and FTC principles, which can be broken down into larger chunks of this privacy policy. Privacy policies are created and then mapped to the FTC or OECD guidelines. All of this can be derived from OECD and FTC guidelines. Researching and innovating for social good. We use information that we collect. Social good, they can use this data for research, building technologies, and making services better. Now let's continue to look at the Facebook privacy content that is on their website. So here is another web page that is on Facebook site, which actually gives a lot of information about privacy. This one is you have control over who sees what you share on Facebook. So this is now that we have seen the Facebook privacy policy in detail. Let's continue looking at Facebook other content that is available on Facebook, which actually provides information about privacy. Facebook has a lot of content about educating people about privacy, how to be protected, how to be safe online safety. There's a lot of content that is available on Facebook. So as we saw, we only saw the privacy policy. Let's continue looking at some more details about some privacy content on Facebook. So this one gives you details about how different methods that Facebook is recommending to be safe and to see who has access to your information and all that. You have control over who sees what you share on Facebook, right? So if you remember Mark Zuckerberg's interactions with Congress, one of the things that he very clearly stated is that you have control over your information, right? So that's again reflecting everywhere, I guess. You have control over your information, and you can actually do control the information, who gets access to what information and everything. Right. So how do I choose who can see photos and other things I post on Facebook? How can I see what my profile looks like to someone else? Can other people see my friends list? Right. So these are some of the frequently asked questions. So I don't know how many of you have played around with looking at your account as though a third party, another person is looking at it, another person who is not your friend looking at it, all that. There are these kind of features on Facebook which allows you to look at your account as though somebody else is viewing your account, right? Particularly with these conditions of they're your friends, they're not your friends, they're somebody who friends of friends and all of that. All of this is transformed into privacy settings where you as a user can actually go control it. And I'm walking through Facebook but we'll quickly look at other privacy policies. But Facebooks and Twitters have spent a lot of time in enabling these privacy settings so that users can actually have control over their information and see what is going on with their information on these platforms. So let's look at privacy settings. I don't know how many of you have gone and looked at the default settings that Facebook has. I don't know how many of you have updated the default settings. It's not very common that people update their default settings. Probably some features people very regularly change. For example, profile pictures, I think people change regularly. But default settings, it's not very clear whether large number of people actually go and update the default settings. I would be curious to know how many of you have actually changed your default settings or gone into the detail, as we are going to see in now, the privacy settings itself. Just look at this. So these are the details that are available for you to go and play around with. Privacy, face recognition, profile and tagging, public post, blocking, location, language and region, and stories, right? So in this, you can actually go and make a lot of changes in the settings. Let's look at some of them. So this one is how people find and contact you. This says who can send you friend request, right? So again, these are options when you edit. These are options that can be changed. So in my case, it says who can send you friend request, everyone. Right? You can change this as friends of friends, for example, which is only when there is somebody else connected to you as a friend, they can only send a friend request to you. And again, user behavior changes. For example, like 5 years before, I remember having these settings as very, very restrictive. Today, all my settings are pretty open. Who can see your friend list? Only me. This is probably on the other side of the restrictions, right? I've set my friend list only to be visible to me, right? For example, if you want to go to my profile and see who are my friends, it's not possible for you. But if you're a friend of a friend and then you want to look at it, I think it shows mutual friends only when we are already connected as friends on Facebook. I think these are nice features, right? For example, I really don't want everybody to know who all I'm connected with on Facebook. Who can look up using the email address you provided? Friends of friends. So this is not everyone. Somebody who has access to my email address should not be able to search me on the platform. I took all these screenshots only like 2 days, I think, 2 days before. So therefore, 2 days before recording, therefore, it's pretty actually recent. Who can look you up using the phone number you have provided? Friends of friends. Again, this is friends of friends, and I don't even know whether how many of us actually have shared our phone number with them. More recently, I think for creating an account, they want the phone number, but not like 10 years before when I had created my account. I think I created my account in 2011. I don't remember giving my cell number to Facebook. Do you want search engines outside of Facebook to link to your profile? Right. So this is like if you go to Google and search for Ponnurangam Kumaraguru, can the search output have my account show up on the Google results? And if this linkages to Facebook and search engines can be done. It says no here. Right. I'm hoping that some of you will go and look at your Facebook settings as we speak or after we have done. So this one is about the face recognition setting. This setting allows Facebook to recognize whether you are in a photo or a video. For more information about how and when you can recognize, which is basically the technology platform, infrastructure that they use to identify the face in the picture or in the video. Do you want Facebook to be able to recognize you in pictures and photos and videos? I've set it as no, right? So that it doesn't automatically detect me on pictures that others are uploading or even I'm uploading myself. Next one is viewing and sharing. Who can post on your profile? Right? So only me, which is, I remember not having this setting as only me. And on my birthday, many of my friends will actually show up on my profile and wish me there. Right? So today I think they can't do that. Who can see what others post on your profile? Friends. Allow others to share your photos to their stories. On hide hide comments containing certain words from your profile off. Right. So this is basically to set that what words, what posts should be hidden when somebody looks at my profile. In my case, I've set it as off. You can modify it and add some words there. I think this adding the words and trying to figure out to blocking the content we'll also see in the blocking section. Who can see post you're tagged in on your profile? Only me again. When you're tagged in a post, who do you want to add to the audience of the post if they can't already see it? Only me again. Nobody, if I'm tagged on a picture, nobody gets to see it, only I get to see it. Because otherwise it could be, if I'm tagged on a picture, my friends could see it, right? So this option could be friends or even friends of friends. Which means when you tag me on a picture, automatically everybody is getting to see it, right? Which probably is something you want to control, or at least I think that I want to control. Review post you're tagged in before the post appears on your profile, right? Somebody tags me on their post. For example, a student is saying that, oh great, I presented this paper in a conference, and he tags me, another professor tags me on some collaborative work that we are doing. I want to see it before, I want to approve it before the picture shows up on my profile. Review what others posts see on your profile. Review tags people add to your post before the tags appear on the Facebook, right? So that's control. This is basically allowing us to control the tagging so that you get a view of what pictures are you tagged, and then you can allow it to go on your profile. Sometimes I've also done this. People tag me on various pictures, which probably there is no relevance for me in those pictures. So I would go to the post and then I would say remove tagging also. There's also that option that you could do. Public post comments. Who can comment on your public post? Friends of friends. Again, this is an option that I've set, which could be actually only friends for that matter. Only anybody, right, or everyone, the way it is called here. Everyone could actually show up on my post and comment there also. Public post notifications, get notifications from public profile, right? So these are further settings that you can control, whether it is who can like or comment on your profile, public profile pictures and other profile information. I've set it as only friends of friends. Off Facebook previews. Enable previews when your public group posts are shared off of Facebook. This again, when post that I do on a group is shared, should the preview be shown. Comment ranking is off, which is the comments I'm sure you've seen, right? Relevant posts, relevant comments, most recent comments are the ways that Facebook actually shows the comments. You can control that. My username is here. So this is the one that I said where you can actually block user. This setting allows you to block user. Now let's look at more settings that is available for a user on Facebook, right? This is the one I mentioned a few minutes back, which is to actually block users. You can go restrict the users from your profile. Once you block someone, that person can no longer see things you post on your timeline, tag you, invite you to our events or groups, start a conversation with you, or add you as a friend. Note, does not include app, games, or groups you both participate in. So because this is, I think, the settings is for Facebook itself, whereas the last line reads that, look, it is not for the apps. If both of you are playing on Candy Crush, Facebook doesn't restricting this user here. It's not going to make any change on Candy Crush or Farmville. When you add a friend to your restricted list, they won't see post on Facebook that you share only to friends, right? So this is a restrictive list. I'm sure some of the smart students in the class may be using this restrictive list and probably adding your parents there, so that your parents are not able to see what post that you're actually doing, even though you're friends with them, right? Parents may be thinking that, oh, good, I'm with friends with my son on Facebook. I know what he or she is doing, but you have added them onto your restricted list, so therefore they can't see what you post. This is blocked messages. If you block messages and video calls from someone here, they won't be able to connect you on the Messenger app either. Unless you block someone's profile, they may be able to post on your timeline, tag you, comment. Right? So again, providing you a list by which you can actually control. Block app invites, block event invites, block apps, block pages. So I think this is I'm sure many of you are using all of these apps and events on Facebook. So I actually also use very regularly the events feature on Facebook to set up some let's take an AMA on a grad school admissions and invite people to the event. Location settings, location history, turn on location history for your mobile devices. I've set it as off just for Facebook not to know the history of the location on the mobile app that I use. Right. So that is about that's about details of the privacy settings of Facebook. Now let's look at some checkup. Facebook had set up this checkups. I was going through this to see what all I can actually see. So this was I was trying this 4 days ago also. Who can see what you share, right? This is basically it's a plug and play type feature that they have, which is you can go through these features, how to keep your account secure, how people can find you on Facebook, your data settings on Facebook, your ad preferences on Facebook, which is if you go through these features, so I'll show you here. If you go through this, it'll actually walk you through some questions, options in which you can answer, and depending on that, it's going to check whether the settings that you have is appropriate or not, recommend the settings that you should be having. Right, we'll walk you through the options to make sure that your settings are right for you, profile, post, ads, and blocking. Right, so that's what I would, meaning if any of you are interested, feel free to take a look at this and then see whether you're able to modify any of your settings in your Facebook. Right? And the goal of the class is also that, right? Educate you and potentially through you others about these kind of features that are available, which can help users to control information, to see, to make use of all these features that are available on these platforms. Right. So that was Facebook. Now let's look at Twitter. The penetration of Twitter and Twitter may be lesser than Facebook, but it's definitely increasing, particularly in the academic setting. I think the Twitter is definitely increasing, where more and more students and more faculty, research labs are all starting to use or are using Facebook or using Twitter to actually communicate, to share their work and all of that. So this is Twitter's privacy policy. Let's look at this briefly. Again, there is a PDF version also. Feel free to take a look at the policy. So this says we believe, and I think this is going back to our definition. The reason for me to go through in detail is it kind of very well aligns with the first week content that we saw, right? Which is definitions of privacy. How these companies are actually treating the information that is collected from the users. What controls are they providing for us? We believe you should always know what data we collect from you and how we use it, and that you should have meaningful control over both. We want to empower you to make the best decisions about the information that you share with us. You remember, again, we talked about decision making with these information that is available on privacy policies. That's what this statement is mentioning. And going through the details of the policy, if you see, right, Twitter is public and tweets are immediately viewable and such. It just describes how Twitter works and what are the broad principles under which they're using information you share with us. We require certain information to provide our services to you. For example, you must have an account in order to upload or share content in Twitter. When you choose to share the information below with us, we collect and use it to operate our services. Our services, I think in this case, could be sharing the information with the people who are following you and all of that. Basic account information. So these are the categories: basic account information, public information, contact information, address books, direct messages, payment information, how you control the information you share with us, right? It goes into details about what all they do with the information. And again, for people who are interested in some of these things, playing around with this, you should definitely get and look at the developer API, try to collect some data from Twitter. I mean, this is about the analysis from the Twitter content itself, but otherwise play around with the Twitter settings. As I showed you on Facebook, Twitter also has a lot of features in terms of what all you can control. Right, so contact information is an address book, direct messages and communications, payment information, whether your tweets are publicly available on Twitter, your privacy. So if you go to the privacy settings, you should be able to see the. I think the next slide that I have in my slides will show you privacy settings options also. Whether others can tag you. I think that's a interesting feature that Twitter has, where by default it's actually denied. Which is, if I were to tag you on pictures, you should in your profile go uncheck option so that people can actually come and tag you with the pictures. I try tagging lots of people on pictures because that's an easy way of using getting more people to tag on Twitter, right? Which is, I put the 280 characters and then I upload a picture with the post. I can actually tag 10 people, so it's easy to actually get the content to these 10 people at least by tagging. So whether others can tag you on a photo is an option that you have to explicitly go allow. Whether you will be able to receive direct messages from anyone or just your followers, again, that's also a setting that you can change. Whether others can find you based on your email or phone number, whether you upload your address book to Twitter for storage and use, when and where you may see sensitive content on the Twitter. This is becoming more and more regular now, at least in my timeline. I see very regularly some posts at least not shown to me because of some content reasons, right? For some policy reasons that Twitter decides not to show the content, and then you'll have to go enable it to see the content. whether you want to block or mute other Twitter accounts. Yeah, so this also happens. So, and also there are other features that you can do to control notifications, for example, right? You can go set the notifications off, mute the conversation on Twitter so that you don't get notifications on when somebody likes or retweets or things. Right, so that's about the privacy policy, about the information that they collect and how they use. There's also this information. We receive certain information when you use our services or other websites. Again, this is something you want to keep in mind, right? These services, when they have, when we use Twitter, it's not only that they're collecting information from Twitter, they actually have, they can collect information from other services that we use also. So we receive certain information when you use our services or other websites or mobile applications that include our content, and from third parties, including advertisers. Like the information you share with us, we use the data below to operate our services. So for example, again, location information, links, cookies. I think we'll do a sort of say detailed discussion about cookies at some point in time in the class. Log data, Twitter for web data, advertisers, developers, other third parties and affiliates, personalization across your devices. Right? So because I think identifying that you are using the same account on your laptop, on your phone, for them to know that it's the same user and for them to know that you are accessing it, they can actually personalize your timeline depending on whether they know that it's the same person or not. So that's what the details of these policies, these settings are here. Information we share and disclose. This may be also interesting to you, right? As noted above, Twitter is designed to broadly and instantly disseminate information you share publicly through our services. In the limited circumstances where we disclose your private personal data, we do so subject to your control because it's important for operating our services or because it is required by law. Right, so I think that's the last part is also something that comes in all the policies for national security required by law. I think information, your activity on any of these platforms can be shared with third parties. Sharing, you control service providers. Again, this is all about information that they share and they disclose with the third parties that they are interacting with. Again, feel free to take a look at it. What I'm going to recommend you is to take a look at these policies in detail, and if there is any particular question that you have, anything that you want me to discuss in detail, please shoot an email on the mailing list. And again, I'm hoping that we'll also do some open to all sessions, ask me anything sessions and during the classes during the week or end of the week, so we can actually discuss all this there. Right, so non-personal information. So we disclose non-personal data such as aggregated information like total number of times. So again, there is this set of personal information and there is also non-personal information. Again, end of the class, I think probably the last week or the 1 week before the last week, we'll actually look at what is this non-personal data, how are these playing a role. There is some discussion going on non-personal data in India now, so we can actually look at what they are also. So this one is we share or disclose non-personal data such as aggregated information like total number of times people engaged with a tweet, demographics, the number of people who clicked on a particular link or voted on a poll in a tweet, even if only one did. The topics that people are tweeting about in particular location, some inferred interest or reports to advertisers about how many people saw or clicked on their ads, right? So those are the things that they do. I think it's very evident that when you go to Twitter and you see insights, impressions for the tweet, you'll actually get to see how many people have seen the tweet, how many people clicked on a link, how many people actually clicked on the image to see the image. All of this information is coming because that's what they're saying here. And particularly some of these are shared in aggregate where you don't know who actually opened that link, which is an aggregate information. You cannot identify the person, but you can still know that 30 people of the 100 people who saw the tweet actually clicked on the link. Managing your personal information is thus accessing or rectifying. So again, if you look at it, this is kind of going over the FTC or the OECD principles, right? Children, and I think the last time I mentioned, right, children policies, COPA, and policies around that are also taken care in some of these privacy policies. So last change, the effective, I think it says August 19, 2021. I think there are also changes to the policy. We may revise the privacy policy from time to time. The most current version of the policy will govern our processing of your personal data, and it will always be at this place, right? So that's, I think all privacy policy will have a date attached to it saying what date was it last updated. Okay, so that's Twitter for us. So that's the Twitter privacy settings. I mentioned your account security and account access, privacy and safety, notifications, accessibility, and additional resources. Right? I think all of them are like the Facebook thing.